Here we are, Janice.
Hi, Katie.
Happy Friday.
Same to you. Same to
I'm
you.
I'm putting lotion on because you were putting lotion on. So I
Yes.
thought, oh, I better do it. Well, happy Friday to you, JP. It
Thank
is
you.
Friday, November 8th. It's Free Tip Friday, and Janice and I are here with you. Everything is right in the world.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Here we are.
I'm so excited to be here.
It's great to have everybody here gathered around the bead table,
Hmm.
having fun, doing our thing. So, Janice, before we go any further, I'm going to do my due diligence and put up
Yes.
everything that so people can find us. You know,
Okay.
I have been looking, folks, on our YouTube channel, and you can find us. YouTube is a great community. We've got a fantastic community over there. I know a lot of you folks are watching on our YouTube. You watch over on our Facebook page. Um, Join us over on our Facebook group over on the bead table. We'd love to have you over there. We're almost 10,000 members strong over on our Facebook group, which is really fantastic. Hit us up on our Instagram and tag us at beadshop.com anywhere around the social media world so we can see your great creations with our projects and products. And if you have any questions, you know that you can reach out to us at info@beadshop.com. And on YouTube, hit that like, subscribe, and notification button, my friends. And Janice, like I was saying, I'm going to take this down.
Yes, my dear.
I have been looking on our YouTube channel, and we have been going all out for people to join us, to subscribe. If you like our content, hit that subscription and notification button so you'll see us every Wednesday and Friday when we go live on our YouTube channel. And it is growing. You
Hmm.
folks are almost breaking 90,000 subscribers. Makes my heart super happy. So, my
Hmm.
friends, if you enjoy our bead content that we're doing here, share it out, comment below, engage with us over on YouTube because that engagement algorithm is everything to us. And we really, really appreciate that. Is one really important way that you can support your friends here at beadshop.com. So, that being said, Janice,
Yes.
we have so many people commenting. Katney says, this pearl necklace is so pretty. Everything Janice
Oh,
makes is so stunning. It's
hi,
so
Kathleen.
true. We're going to talk about past poetry projects, current poetry projects, how you can wear them. Let's see. And Lori says, Janice, you look so beautiful and rested. It's true.
Oh.
It is true. What did I say to her? I said that this morning. I'm
Yeah.
like, Janice, I don't know what picture of Dorian Gray is getting younger in your basement, but you are looking good. That skin.
Well, I tell you, it's beading. It's it's this community. It's uh, staying active. Uh,
You swim
I
every
work,
day.
I swim. Well, I do a Zumba, water Zumba class.
Mhm.
I wholeheartedly recommend it to everybody. I can also announce that I had some really great news on Tuesday. Tuesday. My great news on Tuesday was that I had had a PET scan. Some of you know that I went through a bout of lung cancer. I was in remission. Well, they did a PET scan, and not only am I in remission, but I'm cancer free. They did a scan from my chin down to my middle of my legs, and everything is clear. So um, I highly recommend nurse practitioners, if you've got a cough, get in and get an x-ray, because it was my nurse practitioner who found out that I had a little nodule, and that was a year and a half ago, and I'm going to be around for quite a while. So anyway, I wanted to share some good news with everybody. And thank you for being our community. I mean, I sometimes my whole day, I live in Virginia now, and my whole day is quietly just, going through projects or, paying bills or looking at what we need to order. And if I didn't have like the groups to moderate on Wednesday and my friends at the Y and my grandson to watch, I'd kind of go, life is getting narrower at 75, but this community keeps me like on my toes. I love, I love you all. I really do. You really
Yeah.
keep me young.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's Janice. People are, I don't know if you saw, our Ellen is on and she's doing the moderating. So thank you so much,
great. Thank
Ellen,
you,
for her big
Ellen.
work. And, everyone is saying, Janice, that they're super happy for your good news, as was I. And that people are just saying that they learned so much from us. Someone said here, the pearls are as elegant as Janice. It is so true. But
That's so sweet.
everyone is so happy. Tina says she's so
Yeah,
happy for you. Tina's been cancer free for 14 years. So
that's
yeah, that's
great.
wonderful. So we are
Everyone, thank
all,
you.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
yes, we
Yeah.
we are really, really lucky to have you. And I also saw Karen K. I see that you are commenting. Karen K, I did not hear from you, and I have a mix that you won on Wednesday. So please email me because I want to make sure I've got the right address for you. So Karen K, you won one of our drawings. I have your beads right over there. Email us at
Yes.
info@beadshop.com just to confirm. I knew you'd be watching today, so I just thought I'd tell you right out on our connection over the airwaves.
Great.
So, and Janice, you're getting a lot of love. Fabulous news, JP.
I
You're an
know. I
angel
know.
here on earth. So,
Oh,
if they only knew, JP.
yeah, if they only knew. Yeah, I know. I know.
No, I love it. I really, Janice, we are, you know, we're super, super lucky. And we've been counting our blessings, you
Yeah.
know, and that's all that we can do in these times. Count our blessings, be grateful, be creative, and keep going forward. Dawn's been dealing with a little bit of a skin cancer, and she's happy that you have
It,
that great news.
yeah,
It's
well, Dawn,
fantastic.
I'm glad you're getting treatment because it's not a little thing. Even though it's a little thing, you still have to, take care of it.
Yeah,
It's
for
really
sure,
important.
for
So,
sure.
um, oh, this is
Yeah,
so lovely.
I know.
Well,
Look at those.
let's just stay right here. I'm
I
just
know.
going
Just
to,
stay right here in
yeah.
this.
So
Great.
there's Karen back again. Don't forget
Yes,
to
she'll do it after
email
her
us.
appointment.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Perfect.
Great.
Well, JP, we could go on and share all of these beautiful whoops, I'm trying to hide these here. There we go. We could share these beautiful um uh messages with
Yes.
everyone. But we also have a beautiful project for you today. Oh, my mom said this. I am going to show
Oh,
this one. She says, Janice, I guess you are Katie's second mother.
oh, I
And,
hope so.
you know,
Gwen, that's so sweet.
we
So
were talking
sweet.
about, I'm going to take off my glasses because I don't know, maybe it's just the week to
Yeah.
get teary or whatever. But Janice and I were chatting. Janice really is, besides my mom and some of my close high school friends, we're each other's longest relationship
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
1992. So
Yes.
through thick and thin, my friend, thick and
Yes.
thin.
Yes.
All right. So anyway,
Yes. And when I do go to my father's, that's an old Irish expression. When I do go to my father's, then all of this is yours, Kate.
oh my
From
God.
and look in every direction, and it's all yours.
Oh my, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So Miranda,
Yes.
don't go anywhere. Oh my goodness. Here, let me
I
get,
know.
I gotta do this. All right, there we go. All right. Enough of that business. Let's
Yes.
get to
Yes.
creativity, JP, right?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so speaking of beauty, I'm going to add my piece here.
Okay.
And real quick, everybody, there were some people who were commenting that it's saying under, like, if you say Facebook user and it doesn't show your name, what you have to do, I think, in your Facebook app or whatever, we broadcast using StreamYard. So StreamYard, I think, needs your permission to show your name. So I think you go into permissions, grant StreamYard to show your name on air, and I think that's what the issue is. Okay, so I just wanted to address that real quick.
So when we have when we have the raffles, if
Uh-huh.
they're not registered in StreamYard, are they still
Well,
in
it's
the raffle, or do they have to
so
go and
the
do that?
only thing I'm going to blow my nose. I'm going to
I am too. Look
blow
at
my
us.
nose one more time. There we go.
Yeah,
All right,
there we
there we
go.
go. Now we're good.
I'll put
The
my
place
glasses on
that you
too.
can always go and we see you is our YouTube channel and our Facebook page if you're watching this on Beadshop. If I also shared this into the group for the Great Bead Extravaganza. So if you're watching for Great Bead Extravaganza in the Great Bead Extravaganza group, since it's a private group, you may have to share your permission again. Okay. So, but what you can do, like with YouTube, like you're watching RA, how do you get to StreamYard? You don't need to go to StreamYard because you're watching on YouTube. We can see you. It's just with the Facebook groups that you have to. Oh, and it's Lynn Bates. It's Lynn. Lynn, if you're watching on the Great Bead Extravaganza, you may have to click through from there. So, Facebook always has a little, there's always something with Facebook. But if you watch on YouTube or whatever, you should be fine. And periodically, you have to renew that StreamYard permission. I actually had to do it today, so it may be that some of the permissions have dropped out. Yeah, JP, what have you got?
Okay, pretend I'm a Facebook user. I'm in a
Mm-hmm.
group.
Mm-hmm.
How do I give StreamYard permission?
Well, what you do is if you're in a group and your name does not display, you
Aha.
will have to give StreamYard permission by going to on desktop, and you can see the platform of Facebook, go into your Facebook account icon, go to your privacy settings, apps and websites. You can see here, and folks, you can screenshot this.
Yes.
And you might have to renew that connection because they do expire. So, yeah, then
You know
Liz,
how, yeah.
I'm
Okay.
not sure what's
Thank
up
you.
with that. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, JP.
No. I'm glad you just told us how to do it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I am not that computer literate, as you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Same. I mean, not same,
No,
actually.
not same.
Yeah, not same.
Not same.
And one more plug for our nurse practitioners. BK is saying, having worked in healthcare for over 43 years,
Yes.
she was miffed when she was assigned a nurse practitioner. However, her experience has been awesome and they are very knowledgeable. Same. I love my nurse practitioners. So shout out to you in that nursing profession. You folks are angels on earth for sure. For sure. So,
Yes.
all right. Well, after all of that great chit chat and stuff, if you're watching on a replay, you can see down in the comments we always put some timestamps. You can bypass all of this modeling love and chit chat and get right to the project, which is what we're going to do now. So JP, I am going to solo my camera here. And I want you to talk about, some people have commented about this piece. So I'm going to move the other samples aside right here. And let's talk about this piece called peignoir that you made. we've advertised it actually as a necklace, sort of. We're calling this a wrap, is what we're calling
Hmm.
it. So you can wear it as a necklace or a bracelet, right? So,
Sure. That's the beauty of it.
yeah. So talk to me a little bit about the history of this poetry piece. And I've got some of our other poetries and the inspiration behind this one. And I'm actually going to put all of us up. I'm just going to um, highlight this one here. There we go.
So this project is under the umbrella of poetry, which was a project I first did in 2016.
Hmm.
So the first one was called Poetry. And they're all on our website under projects, and you can go down to right now. If you open projects, it just the first one
Hmm.
is peignoir. But if you are looking for poetry, you just go to projects and go to bracelets, because that's the original bracelet. I had seen something on my goddaughter, Chelsea. It was a pearl bracelet with black macrame knots in between. This was in 2015, I think. And a light bulb went off. It was like, oh my goodness, we can marry macrame with pearl knotting. I mean, it's just, and it makes it sturdier. And I mean, she does yoga every day. The bracelet never wears out. We did, I'm going to say we have a handout.
Hmm.
So I don't know if this is showing up okay.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
can also put it underneath your top camera a little bit later, JP, but
Oh, yeah.
I'll put a link in there for the handout as
It's
well.
like 16 pages,
Yeah, it's
something like
crazy.
that. Yeah, 16 pages. And um, it just spawned a whole new industry of macrame. Um, then Bollywood came out of this. It was just um, a whole new way. And so I've always been excited about poetry. It never goes out of style. And it's only recently that I've said, especially with us thinking and getting ready for the master class um, in January for pearl knotting, uh, this is a great way to knot pearls. You can knot anything, but for those of you who go, well, I'm really not that crazy about, I don't really get the knot, but I know how to macrame. This is a wonderful way to knot pearls. You don't have to do as many knots in between each pearl. You can do just even two and have them closer together. But it's just a wonderful way to give uniformity, continuity to random pearls, to random beads. It acts like that the knot acts like the space between words, so that you can read a paragraph, you can read a sentence, because there's space in between each one. And so poetry is just a great way of bringing uh, random beads together in a uniform way. And it also works for just the same bead like it does in poetry peignoir.
Yeah,
So
it's really great. What I've been doing, Janice, while you've been chatting is I've
yeah,
been
I
scrolling
see.
through the poetry project. So you can see it. I did want to, you can see on the last page of the handout, it talks about some of the different projects we have. In the handout, we talk about tough cord. Now,
Yes,
tough
I'm
cord
glad you brought it up.
was a fantastic uh, material to use. Unfortunately, tough cord has gotten literally tougher and tougher to find. So we use microcelon for most of these, and so
Hmm.
microcelon and the tough cord uh, are interchangeable. And if you're using larger beads, You could go up a size to Ceylon in fine, but we recommend the Ceylon in micro for this project. But you could do this project with um, uh, with any types of beads, right? I've done it before
Uh-huh.
with leather, with large hold um, uh, African trade beads and stuff like that. So,
Right. Right.
you can do it. I'm going to go ahead and rearrange our screen here. But Janice,
Okay.
how did you come up with the name poetry as it fits so beautifully with what we've got going on?
Uh, with age comes forgetfulness. I I think if I look at it now, I have a very dear friend who is a poet, and she sends me her poetry to read before she sends it out into the world. And her name is Freda Perlson. And I think maybe at the time I was reading some of her. Oh, thank you, Margaret. I think I was reading some um, of her poems, and the idea that, like I said, the space between each bead is like the air between us, words in a sentence. I was very cognizant at that time, very aware with this handout, and then I had done tricks of the trade. The notion that we want to space out um, the focal beads, the important beads, that we don't want lanes of traffic to like fight with each other. And so poetry is just to me a way of um, kind of flowing. And this is a flowing project. Whatever beads you use, you're going to find that the macrame um, helps it flow. If anyone wants to see one of the first projects under learning, if you go to learning, there's archived,
I think
and
it might
under
be, is it this one?
it's the micro macrame project where I used, no, it's, Kate, do you want to go
Mhm.
and we can bring it up? It's the
Yeah,
one,
it's
it's in
under, what's it called, JP?
micro macrame.
Okay.
It's in the archive
Oh,
projects.
in archives. Got it. Let me get there.
Yes.
Let
And
me
this
get
was
there.
one of the first projects I did um, where I used totally random beads. And
I'm getting there. Hang on
okay.
1 second here. It's in Beadshop projects. Oh,
Yeah.
a micro float.
Yes.
That's the one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me add this to the page
Okay.
and let me add it back. Hang on. Add. There we go. I've got the micro float
Right.
here.
Right. So this was, all kinds of beads and pearls, and I used, I let some of the thread just float, but I did use macrame knots in between. I did turn one of, um, those lozenges
Mm-hmm.
into a button.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's a technique we can't seem to, and I acknowledge this, I can't seem to let go of macrame. I just, I love just that simple
Mm-hmm.
stitch. I can do it till the cows come home.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one way of showing that you could use it all the time and really never get tired of it. It comes in handy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, oh, flower pot. I love that name.
Mhm.
I think you're new to the group on YouTube. I just noticed you the other day. Welcome. And Margaret says poetry and zen of stringing, fantastic handouts and projects. Thank you, Margaret.
Yeah, it's
Um,
true. This is such a classic. And the first time when I saw these when I came back to Beadshop, I I am overwhelmed with how great this looks with just the pearls like this. But we
yeah.
have other projects, and I pulled things out because Janice is going to talk about what she's going to use. I pulled a little bit of an alternate because,
Yeah.
God forbid I keep my hand out of what we're doing. So I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to talk about this. But I wanted to talk to you about some of the other poetry projects we had.
Sure.
Essentially, Janice, all you need is a strand of something,
Mm-hmm.
pearls a lot of times,
Mm-hmm.
a color of the micro Ceylon,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So this one is, and forgive me, I don't know the names on
Poetry
everything.
in gray,
Which one?
maybe.
This might be poetry in gray. It's the Ceylon in the gray. Look at this one. This is also Ceylon in gray, but we used semi-precious instead,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you
Mm-hmm.
can see the closures that we've used. We've used the button pearls, which we'll get back in, folks. We're the button pearls that we've seen lately are not the best. So
Mm-hmm.
as soon as we find some that we love, we'll get them back in for you.
Mm-hmm.
This one is that poetry with that beautiful kind of periwinkle color. This
Mm-hmm.
one is just the white, kind of like when Emily does that bead crochet with just the white seed beads. You can get um uh it really takes on the color. Like this one,
Mm-hmm.
poetry in shades. This is a white pearl with the gray. This is the white pearl with kind of that peridot color. This is the white pearl with that kind of blush color. So you can really kind of push it wherever, color wise, wherever you want it to go. And then, of course, this one, which is really delicious. And pink, I think, is really having a moment. This is kind of that dusty pink
Mm-hmm.
with the rose quartz. So I think it really,
Kate,
uh-huh.
oh, sorry. Would
No,
you put in the one that is peignoir? Can you lay
yeah,
it next
yeah.
to those? I want to see because many of these could have been done on tough cord. And do you see how much smaller the micro Ceylon is?
These
To
are all pretty small, JP, I think. I
Yeah.
mean, some of them, I think that they could go, here's the micro. This one
Hmm.
might have been on tough cord, maybe.
Yeah.
This one here. But I think the micro Ceylon, I think, all works beautifully.
Oh yeah, yeah, it
Hmm.
does. I just I think well, you can get the knot several sizes
Hmm.
using just the micro Ceylon, which we
Hmm.
can talk. I'll put that a note on that, and we'll
Hmm.
talk about it before the end of the show.
Hmm. There's a nice close-up view so everybody can see that. This would be a good screenshot
Yeah.
for you to take. I want to show you. We're gonna talk about Janice's piece here. We're going to talk about this one, the peignoir. What I love when you use these larger beads, Janice, and you can
Mm-hmm.
see the difference even from this pearl to
Mm-hmm.
this pearl right here. The larger your pearl is, the more real estate you have to kind of showcase the thread. Do you see that here? Right. So Janice used these kind of free form, really beautiful, and you use two strands of the pearl
Yes.
here. Someone
Yeah.
asked about length, and we'll talk about length and stuff like that. But here's this smaller one, this gray one, and you can see the thread still runs alongside, But it's a little less noticeable because the pearl's a little bit smaller. Teresa, you're asking, are the coins from Green Girl? This one right here that Janice used, this is actually a Tierra cast, and now the company who took them over is recreating them. So this is the Jardin from that. Though if you have a Green Girl coin or a Green Girl charm, Cynthia's pieces just look exquisite
They
with
do.
this technique. So Green Girl charms would be perfect. It would be a perfect meeting of friends between
Mhm.
Green Girl and Beadshop on this. Janice also put, and I wanted to show this here, our briolettes. Let me give that a little bit of a shake. The briolettes that have the the bezel around them, the bezel
Mhm.
briolettes. They are really terrific with that. You can put any little charm or any little sweet thing at the end of this that you love. This one has the Be Still heart charm, which we have. So those all look great. And Belinda is saying she used to make necklaces like this with check beads in the 70s. We're
Mhm.
making her nostalgic.
Yeah.
Check beads
Yeah.
are beautiful with this. And so speaking of that, I'm going to push this aside. And I have chosen some check beads to work on with the sample today. I used the green that I used a
Mm.
6 millimeter and a 4 millimeter. This is the green. This is the green bronze, and I'll get the right ones. Sorry, I should have written them down. I thought I fixed them in my mind. But we do have some of the pearl buttons that are the bronze pearls, and I got the latte
Mm.
in micro. And I
Mhm.
thought that this was a nice, sweet fall palette. So I'm going to get mine set up. And Janice, shall I add um, uh,
Yes.
your
Yes.
piece to the mix?
Yes.
Let me
I
do that.
also want to add, Kate,
Mhm.
that if you're
Yep.
wearing any of those poetries as a necklace, adding just sliding on a disc, you
Oh, yeah,
know,
beautiful.
to on the side that's the loop, as
Hmm.
long as it fits through the pearls or whatever beads you have, and it
Hmm.
doesn't have to go all the way down. You could just
Hmm.
put it on. If you have bigger beads in the middle, you can have the disc at the end, put the button and the loop together, and then you have, a fantastic necklace. It's
Yeah,
just,
for sure.
I like to wear mine all the time with discs. And look at that. It's just
And I would,
it's
if I were
nice.
embellishing, this is the disc, folks, that I
Yeah.
embellished on Wednesday. Instead of having a wire wrap loop here, I would just finish it off and wrap the wire around so it would not have a loop. Or you could do it on the bottom like that and add
Yeah.
like a bead or something here. But that is really a fantastic way of doing it, JP. And you could put it around, then put it around your neck and double it
Mhm.
over by putting the what I want to say, the strand back through, right?
Right.
So that's how it would double if you wanted to double it
Mhm.
here. I'm gonna
Mhm.
highlight that one. I've got so many windows. Let me see. There we go. And let me zoom
Yeah,
back
it's
a little bit.
just easy peasy.
Look at how like rich that looks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. And then you could add that little drop. This is one of our old ones. This was maybe Poetry in Shades we were talking about. But if
Mhm.
you just double it over,
Yeah.
isn't that gorgeous? Right? Meeting of the minds there. Really
So can
pretty.
we go to lunch now?
Yeah, dude, let's go. Let me add you in here, JP. I'll get
Okay.
mine together. And the technique, my friends, is not that uh, uh, difficult to do. So
Mhm.
Janice is going to show you at the beginning, and I'll get my stuff ready over here as well.
Okay, so um, I want to show you. I have to apologize for the really, really incredibly dirty, filled with cat hair, uh, both gray and orange.
You're taking
Um,
a leaf out of my book, JP.
yeah. So, so we're starting. Let's start at the top. Just to give you an idea, I have taken a long piece of micro Ceylon in the olive, and I would say it's probably 2.5 yards. Now, the thread that I've cut first is the one that is going to be the base. So if you want to go around your wrist 5 times, or you want to do a 3 wrap necklace, this particular piece of micro Ceylon has to be long enough to be doubled. And you want to just say, okay, I'm wrapping it around my wrist, doubled, and it gives me more than 5 times around. So you want it to go around like 6.5 times. And then that's doubled. So you just have, so mine would be like maybe 45 or 50 inches. And then I do that again. And that's my core thread, this here. And then I'm going to put a needle on it. And for needles, I prefer the flexible eye needle. These have, I've got to get into the frame. So this particular needle, here we go. This particular needle has a loop on the end. You could use fine, you can use medium. What I don't like for this project or any pearl knotting are the ones, I'm sorry, I have to get used to the focusing. These are the collapsible, and they have that little bit of what do we want to call that at
Like
the
a
end?
twist. It has a little
A
twist at the
twist,
top. Yeah.
right. And that little twist is the kiss of death for pearl knotting, because uh, first of all, you don't need it. Um, your pearls are not going to come off your thread. You don't need it to stay in place. Plus, the putting on of your using like silk, for instance, this particular little knot will begin to wear out your thread and also make the diameter of where your thread and your needle come together possibly too large to get through your pearls.
Right.
So,
I mean, it's a handy needle for a lot of things, but for
yes,
this, we really just need the flexible eye.
right. So the first thing I did is I cut that thread. I put a needle, a flexible eye needle, again, fine or medium. Um, and I then folded it in half, put the needle in the middle, and then put an overhand knot down here at the end. And I guess for those of you who have never wrapped a board, it's a very easy process. I like to use at the end the clips, and I use a little bit of twine, and I go through my knot. Let me show you that. I go through the knot at the end, and then I clip it to that, and then I go all the way around the board. This will make sense in a minute. I tighten it, and then I also tape it down here. Now, what I forgot to tell you is that before I do all of this, I put on the button and I put on the pearls. I want to make sure that all of this, fits. And then from there, what I do, and if this isn't clear, would someone say so and I'll lower
Yeah,
the
I'll tell
camera.
you, JP, I'm keeping an eye on it.
Okay. So I want to just come down a little bit. Let's see if is that focused, Kate?
It's a little, you've got a shadow kind of right in the middle where the button is. So a
Okay.
little bit higher. Yeah, there you go. And move it a little bit to your left, JP, the board, and a little up, a
Okay.
little,
So I'm
push it away from you. So the button's a little higher up in the screen.
push it away from
Push
me
the
this
board
way.
away from you. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
There. Okay. And then I want to make sure it's focused.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see if I can tighten this. Okay. Does that look focused? Anyway, so what I've done is I'm using today the apple blossom button
Mm-hmm.
from Tierra Cast. We do have these in stock. It's not a 2-hole button like peignoir has, but I wanted to show you you can use this button as well. And so I'm going to say this is about half an inch or 3/4 of an inch of about a half an inch,
Yeah.
a little more than half an inch. And the way I macrameed this is I took another piece of micro Ceylon and this is the one that you want longer. So you want this piece at least 3 yards long. And I started up at the top and I just did the basic square knot. And maybe Kate, when you start your
Mm-hmm.
project, have you started yet?
Nope. I'm going to show you how I
Okay,
started.
so we can show you how she started, how she starts it, and then I can go. I'm going to then push this up when I have this section of macrame long enough, and then I'm going to loop this over, and I'm going to show you how we macrame it into a loop for the button to secure it before
Mm-hmm.
we do any of the pearls. So I have pre-strung pearls, I have pre-strung the button, and then I just do the bit of macrame, then bring these 2 tails. They have to go through the button, and then I can pull that up onto the macrame. Are you ready, Kate, to show
Yeah,
us?
let me show you. Let me highlight my camera here,
Okay.
and show you what I've got. So what I have here is, instead of using a button with a shank, I am using the pearl button, and I wanted to show you this. Now, Janice, I'm gonna go along, and you tell me if I'm doing this right or
Okay.
wrong. Okay.
Okay.
So what I've done is I cut my 45 inches here, and this is
Mm-hmm.
latte, the micro, and I
Mm-hmm.
put it on my flexible eye needle. Now, what I've done first and foremost is I have slid my button pearl, the pearl that's going to be the button, on that doubled, right? My needle's in the center, do it, strung it on. Now, Janice, I'm just going to tie a knot here. Is that correct?
It is, but I think you have to tie one knot that's large enough that it won't go through that button.
Correct. So I'm going to just I haven't secured it. So to tie it,
Right.
I'm going to go through once
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to go through twice. Now, you
Mm-hmm.
could also use like a tiny little daisy spacer
You
on the
could.
top of this, or something if you wanted to kind of make it a little bit fancier. But I'm just going to go ahead, knot that up. And before I do anything else, before I glue it or before I do anything, pardon me, pardon me, I'm going to make sure I'm going to pull this here and see how
Right.
it's not quite as secure as I'd like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to inch down and I'm going to tie again. I'm going to go once, twice, Maybe I'll go 3. Maybe I'll
Okay.
even go 1 more.
Okay.
So that's 4 loops through, right?
Now, Kate, why don't you just put a knot right on top of the old one?
Well, it's a great question. You can, but I feel that if I were trying to put another knot and aim it right at this knot, all I would get is this knot over here, the new knot kind of scrunched below it, and it wouldn't be any bulkier. It would just be longer. Does that make sense? So to get yourself a really nice bulky knot, we do that surgeon's knot, but we go through several times, and I'm going to carefully try and figure out, there we go, that's where my extra thread was. I'm going to go ahead, and now, can you see the difference between the size of this knot and the size of that knot?
Could I also add the reason you don't go over a knot with another knot is because the weight of your necklace or your bracelet can pull the knots a little looser, and what can happen is the second knot on top of the first can pull away from the first, and your button can come off. Can slip. That first knot can slip through because it's virtually 2 knots. Whereas if you do 1 knot, like Kate did the second time, then you know that knot is not going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
It can't go anywhere because it's 1 knot.
Now, what you could also do, and people have been saying this, so I want to add on, this is a 15-aught. Now, you could use a 15 or you could use an 11, but let me show you. I've got plenty of thread here, which is why I can keep doing this. What you can do is you can add a little bead at the end. And for me, it doesn't get any littler than this 15. So I'm going to take my button pearl off for a second. I'm going to try and isolate and get a 15. Well, of course, I can't just get one 15 out. I've got a few of them, but that's all right. I'm going to slide that 15 on. I'm going to slide that pearl on. That 15 fits just fine on the end there. And I'm going to go back to where all of my knots are, right? Here's my first one. Here's my second one that's looking good. Let me do this one. I'm going to do maybe go twice through, once, twice, because 2 times up next to that 15 is going to definitely hold. This is where when you use a button pearl or something like this, you don't have the security of what Janice did with the loop, right? You need to make sure that this knot and this 15, that the knot that you tie here isn't going to pull through, and that 15, look, I'm really pulling on this now. That's not going to go anywhere. So the way that then what I want to do to secure that is I'm going to get my GS hypo. Let's get that. And let's also get our thread burner. Now, what you don't want to do, my friends, and I'm going to do this for you since this is a demo. It's not it's not real life jewelry. I'm going to add a dot of that GS to the knot. If I can find a good one, hang on. Here we go. I'm going to add a dot of GS right there. And then I'm going to continue on, and a little bit later, we'll go ahead and singe the remainder of that thread away. Okay? But that knot, especially with that 15, is not going anywhere. But do remember, if you don't have a little bead or something on the top of that, you really need to make sure that your knot is robust enough so it doesn't pull through. So now, Janice, what
Yes.
we would do is we would pre-string, right? That's what you'd do here?
Yep, you would get on, yes, you would put your beads on. You
Right,
don't have to necessarily put all of them on,
right.
um,
I'm going to
but
put
you
just a few.
yeah, I put maybe 15 pearls on.
Okay.
Um,
So I'm going to alternate between the sizes of this 6 millimeter and 4 millimeter. So I'm going to start with a small one. I'm going to do a 4 and a 6 and a 4 and a 6. I'm just going to do a few.
okay.
And then we're going to come in and add our second thread, right, Janice?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So
You're going to
this is,
secure that to the board.
yeah. So you can see here are now I could have just used one size of the 6/0.
Mhm.
Okay. And yeah, the core on this, and Cindy's asking, the core is doubled on this poetry.
Mhm.
So you've used 2 strands of the micro. You've either put your pearls on, your beads on, whatever it is. I'm going to come in and I'm going to secure. I've got my piece of cord right
Mhm.
here, my piece of twine. I'm going to
Mhm.
come in and do you do it, Janice, under the button or did you just tie it?
I do it, you see, well, you have that wonderful knot there. I
Yeah, I
would go
could,
through that knot.
this one right here, right?
Yeah, you could actually, if you wanted to, you could skip the twine and you could use that knot with your
My clip.
clip to
Mm-hmm.
just go to the edge of the board. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you open it up and
There's that. I'm going to
just
go
secure it to the
here.
edge. Yeah.
Mhm. And see how that's secure
Yeah.
and good to go, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So now I'm going to come in. For now, I'm just going to clip this to the other side of the board for the moment.
Okay.
But now we need to make a decision, like what you did with your piece, JP. And I want to spotlight that uh, when you're
Okay.
ready. We're going to show you. Um,
Yeah.
uh, what I'm going to do here is I've cut a piece of my Ceylon and I've doubled it.
Mhm.
I've cut, you said about 3 yards. I'm going to find the
Well,
center.
right, right. So this is where you could make a decision. We're using it one long piece in half, but as a single. So it's
Mm-hmm.
going to macrame around your core thread as a single. If you wanted a heavier macrame, let's say you had beads with much bigger holes, you could do 2 pieces of micro Ceylon
Mm-hmm.
uh, and macrame. Uh, two would be 2 on each side, and it would be much heavier.
Mm-hmm. You could
But
also, we could, Janice, for this, we could use the micro for the core
mhm,
and use a fine for the macrame.
yes, you could.
Right? So it really
Yeah.
just depends. We want, though, that same delicate look that
Mhm.
Janice has achieved with this one, with her peignoir.
Right.
Now,
Right.
Lynn has a good question. Lynn is asking, why wouldn't you just use regular Ceylon instead of this double? Um, do you want to answer that, Janice, while I do some of the
Well,
macrame here?
Lynn, it all depends on the bead hole sizes. Regular Ceylon um, does not fit through the pearls. I suppose if you use the regular Ceylon as a single cord, it would work with certainly the fire polish, but it won't. I doubt it'll work with most pearls that you could get 1 strand of Ceylon. especially when you use a needle, whatever your thread you're using, up at the needle, you double it over, and that has to go through, even if it ends up where you knot it single, where you go through the pearl or the bead, it has to be doubled unless you make a self needle with glue. But you could use the regular Ceylon, and maybe with like larger beads, you could easily use the Ceylon doubled. But for this, because where it's a micro macrame, we're trying to be as small as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we want the center cord to be doubled with the micro to give it the strength. We
Mm-hmm.
want more strength. Um, but the outer cord does not have to be as strong as the center cord.
Mm-hmm. And I've done this when I've done this for our Great Bead Extravaganza project. I did it, it might have been last year or the year before. I did this poetry style, but I used the trade beads. I used some sandcast beads. And so the base a um, was a leather, right?
Yeah,
And then the
yeah.
leather that I macrameed with, I think, was a smaller leather.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do this with Chinese knotting cord. You could do this. It just depends. You want to match whatever it is you're stringing to the beads, right? Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense? So
Mm-hmm.
just decide what works, and then experiment. Do a little tester. Now
Mm-hmm.
there's a question here. What am I using for my center cord? I am using the micro. This is a latte. The color is latte, and this is a doubled strand here. And so what I'm trying to do, I did the flat macrame, and you can find the directions for this in the handout. I'll flash where the handout is again before we end. And uh, I do the flat, the right overlap, from the left to the right. Keep going down, doing that flat macrame. And then, Janice, what's the rule of thumb that you think, like this, I've almost cleared the button.
Mm-hmm. I
What do you
think
think?
I think especially because it's pearl, it's a freshwater pearl. You don't want the your beads, your glass beads, to be rubbing up against the edge of the pearl and possibly wearing away the nacre, so
Mm-hmm.
which is the coatings that come with the freshwater pearl. I would clear it so that
Okay.
the button could lay flat and not touch um, your fire polish.
Mm-hmm. So
Um,
I've done, let me see if I can count. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I've done about 12 half hitches or
mhm,
6 full knots here.
mhm,
And what I also want to make sure that you folks remember, when I'm doing this, I want to make sure that my I don't want to shove it up like too tight up there, but you want to make sure that there isn't any loose thread, right? That your macrame is touching the button or the pearl at the bottom here, and that there's no space between this bead and the top of the bead here, because you want everything, this connection for the button to be nice and uh, snug, if that makes sense.
yeah, and after you do a couple of knots, you can also probably slide it up closer to the
Right.
button.
That's what I did
Yeah,
actually here, because it
yeah.
was kind of being a little funny. So let me push this back. Let me do this. I think I'm almost clear
Okay.
here. And then what I'll do is I'll slide up my first bead. But
Hmm.
like you're going to show Janice on yours, when you have your button, you've macrame. You do this first, actually. You macrame, macrame, macrame. You slide on the button. You put everything through that button shank. You flip this down, and then you macrame a little bit more to bring everything together.
Right, and I
And
have that ready to show.
okay, let me just go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll
no hurry.
slide this up. There's my first one. I've cleared the side. Nothing is going to hit. And I'm just going to macrame around. Now, and you'll show this on the peignoir here. You've done maybe about 3 or 4 macrame knots here.
I kept it even. I
Mhm.
did 4 half hitch or 2 full square knots.
So I
But
think
you can be random.
yeah, I think you need to decide, like this one. Can you see this one here? This one is a little wide, you've got a few more in between. So maybe for this, maybe I'll do 3 full, 6 half. So while I'm working on this, JP, I'm going to go ahead and put yours in frame.
Okay.
And I'll work on this for a bit, and we'll get you highlighted. So I think you need to move yours
I
back.
need to be, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That looks perfect. Over a little more to your left, Janice. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Okay, so what I've done is I've done that. We talked about that 3/4 of an inch of the macrame that I've done. I have a top cord, which I've just taped down here. So this is the shorter one is this one that so it ends right here. And then the longer one, sorry, which is the bottom cord, I have, let's show you this. I've just secured it on this end, and then my pearls are just on the side there. So what I'm doing with my cords, I've evened these two up so that they are just ending together where I want them, just one on top of the other. I'm going to just tighten this a little bit. The Scotch tape really does help for these little projects. I'm just going to pull it down just a little bit. I want them to line up. And then I am just going to do my macrame. And it's so close to the board, it's a little hard to do. I'm just careful about this first one. I do not need, someone might ask, do I need to glue? I don't need any glue. I'm just going to go 1. And then the second one, let's pull this through.
Looks great, Janice.
Thank you. And I don't have to show too much to be able to take it off the board and show. Let me just do another full knot before I take it off the board.
So you initially started off, that was about a 1/2 inch of macrame that you brought around the shank of the button.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I slid the button right up over the macrame. I put the 2 tails through. I mean, I put the macrame tails. I put that through, and then let me take this off and show everyone. Does that show up okay?
Yeah, it does.
Super focused, but
so now closer to, there you go. Let the board, that's too close, I think. Go ahead and just pull that cord down like you had there, and see if you can show the board through the loop so the loop really shows.
Let me get a piece of white paper, and
okay.
I'll just.
And the question here is, Janice, is your sample double at the center? It is. You've done it over a doubled strand. So the peignoir sample that you have is definitely doubled. So can you see that, how the loop, that 1/2 inch of macrame came around, forms that loop, and then Janice has just macrameed a bit to clear that button. And now, Janice, you're going to bring up your first pearl, right? And macrame around it.
I wish I could get it in focus, but
Well, I think it's not the focus, but it's the what do I want to say, the frames per minute. So you're pretty clear.
okay. So now what I will do is I'll just establish the button on the side of the board,
Mhm.
secure it again.
Mhm.
I'm going to organize my cords. I don't really need these tails, but I don't want to cut them yet. So
And
I'm
I'd
going
push
to,
your board back, JP, just a little. You're a little close to the bottom of the frame. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
okay. And I'm just going to tape these up here because I don't want to cut them yet, but I want them out of the way. And I am going to just make sure everything, I like to establish which is the right, which is the left. This has to go under this. Is that right? No, I want to put this down here for now. Let's get that out of the way for a second. And bring up, let's see if this clears the button. Because if not, I need to do, yes, it does. I need to do a few more. So I'm going to pull a few pearls up. You can see I've just got a few pearls pulled up. I'm going to then clip this to the end of the board again. And if you need, sometimes I do this, I need something under. Let me pull this up a little bit.
Oh, like a little
I need,
spool of something.
yeah, I'll put the spool underneath so it's nice and tight. I'm bringing this around, and then I'm going to clip it on, and that usually will hold it tight enough. It has to be pretty tight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to just tape this down. That also helps it get tension. And then I'm going to come back here. I'm going to look at what I don't need these cords anymore, these little tails. So this is where, oh wait, it got loose on me. I have to take this off. This is a
Janice,
good one.
oh, did you want to show that real quick?
Well, look, I see, this is loose. Do you see
Mm-hmm.
this? You can't see it. Shoot. Okay, so it's not even. My macrame knots were even at the time, but the tension has changed.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to pull these down. So, something has to give. There we go. So now is when we want to put a little glue here so that on the next knots, it stays secure.
It
So I'm
stays
going
tight,
to
yeah. And also, I think when you put your first put
purl
your
on.
first pearl
Yeah.
on, you kind of push it up and everything kind of falls into place. Janice, while you're doing that, I'm going to show my screen. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
So here we are, folks, right here. And you can see I did Janice's little trick with that micro seal on my spool underneath there. And it just helps to kind of tension everything like she said. And you can see I've been doing about 8 in between. And the thing about this I'm used to using such heavier cords that I feel like this micro is almost like a strand of hair in my hands, kind of.
Mm.
But you get used to it pretty quickly. And if you fall into a rhythm, and you can see I have my board, I'm gonna lift up my camera just a bit so you folks can kind of see the bigger picture here, literally. So see here's my board, here's my thread, and I've got my board going longwise here. So it allows me a place to rest both of my hands as I'm macrameing. And you can see I'll just go in and I'll come in from the right and I'll come in from the left. So I've got a little more room. Everything looks pretty good. And now when I'm ready, I'm just going to slide that up. The big secret is also, I think, to this being successful is if your base cord is nice and taut. So that you're macrameing around something that's tight and not spongy, if that makes sense. Right? And then you just go for it. You count. I'm going to count up to 8 here. So Janice, let me know when you're ready again.
Okay. I'm just
There's no rush, but I'm macrameing and watching one eye on the broadcast, one eye on the macrame, one eye on the clock. We're doing fine. It's about 45 minutes past the hour here. So
okay, so we can go back, and I've got my project. I put a little bit of. I'll wait till you.
There we go. You're on.
Okay, so I have put a little bit of.
You're a little low in the frame, JP.
There we go.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I put a little bit of glue the GS Hypo. I put it right on the thread, right under those knots. I've made sure that I'm actually macrameing over the tails. And then I'm going to add one more set. And whoops, didn't mean to bang the camera. Oh, Sammy, I heard
a little plaintive wail. JP.
So don't cut anything but the excess thread. You want to cut the tail off. And now I'm going to push a pearl up. And you have to understand your pearls. You have to look at them. Which way is the thread going to stay the most secure? It doesn't matter really if they both end up on the same, but I will go on the sides that make the outer thread the path of least resistance. That means this side, if I do it this way, the thin way is going to be a lot easier for the pearls to stay in place than trying to do it around that way. But if you have round pearls, you just have to accept that sometimes they're going to come together. The way to keep them more separated and around the side is by not making it too tight. If it's too tight, the thread is going to want to collapse in the easiest direction that it's not stretched. So I'm going to open that door. And he's going to be able to just come in.
I'll show you while you're doing that, JP. I'll show you folks here so you can see. I've started to get. I'm kind of cooking with gas here. Not too bad. I've got lengthwise. People were asking about the length, Janice, and you can really kind of. I'll measure the peignoir piece, but from below the button to what I've got about here, this is about 3.5 inches so far, right? And so this one, the peignoir project that you have, I'm going to measure it. Now we're calling this a wrap. This could be a necklace around several times, like what you're wearing today, Janice. Or I'm going to go ahead and put yours back on the screen here. Okay. This necklace or a bracelet wrap. This is about 42.5 inches. This one here, and you ended up using 2 strands.
Yes.
of the pearls. But can you see the contrast between what Janice is doing there? She's got her pearls, and you're doing 4
Mm-hmm.
half hitches in between each one. So the
Right.
pearls are lying nice and close together. I'll show you mine one more time and I'll zoom in on it a little bit. You can see that I have kind of double what Janice has there. I have about 8 in between, and I'm using a 4mm and a 6mm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we could introduce a pearl into this mix and graduate up and have a 4, a 6, a pearl, a 6, a 4, or whatever. You could also do it kind of randomly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I'm going to do here, and it's not really the time to do it, but I want to show you folks. My glue has had some time to set. I'm just going to come in and I'm going to cauterize. I'm going to use my thread burner, and I'm going to come in. I'm going to heat my thread burner, and I'm just going to touch it, and you can see that knot has then, the excess thread has burned away, and I'm going to come in and just give it a little pat right there, and that's it. That's all she wrote. So that's how we finish this up at the end. Now, Janice, do you want to talk about making the loop on the other side?
Yeah. It is in the instructions. It's
Mm-hmm.
completely written out. It's also the important thing about it is that you have to make sure it's twice the length of your button. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to either, what I usually do is I will take a piece of paper and I will um, uh, put on the paper, the length of the button. It starts here and it ends there. And then as I macrame, I hold that paper up to see, am I close? Am I getting that length doubled? And then I also will take it off the board when I start to get close to make sure that when I fold it over, it's going to fit. So
Mm-hmm. And so let
that.
me show you on your finished piece. Let me switch the camera
Mhm.
back over here. So with your piece, here's the loop end. Let's take a look at it. And if you go on to beadshop.com and you go to the project, you'll see a nice project map here. You'll see it all laid out. But this one, like if we look at this button, like what you were saying, JP, you take the measurement of the width across the button, you
Right.
mark that on a piece of paper, and you macrame literally double that length, right?
Plus maybe a little bit because
Just a
the
little,
button
right? You
is
need a little bit of
thickness.
ease,
Yeah, yeah, and it
especially if your
has,
button has height. This button is fairly
yes,
thin, but if your
yeah,
button's a little thicker, you've got to be aware of that. Then
yeah.
all you do when you bring your loop around, you want to make sure that that loop isn't twisted, and you kind of want to hold it, and you want to just double check that it fits over the button, like so,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
Then you come down with the same threads that you've macrameed. You're going to bring your threads together here, everything together here, and then you're going to macrame down. So see this macrame here, that's the shank of the
mm-hmm,
loop, really what we can say.
mm-hmm,
It's a little thicker, just slightly. You'll
mm-hmm.
macrame all the way down to the top of the button, or
Right.
the bead rather here, and you will just glue it off, right?
Yeah, you can also, if you want that extra bit of security, you can take your threads and go back around that first pearl and macrame over the knots
Mm-hmm.
and then cut the threads.
Correct.
Yeah,
And Tina was asking if we're using the same cord, and we are. We're using the
yeah.
same diameter of cord. We're both using micro. And you can
Mm-hmm.
see how when it's a little bit longer, right? We both have the cord doubled. When you're using a different type of bead, the illusion of that cord looks a little different. And I am using the green bronze 6 millimeter here, and then the same in the 4 mil right here. This 6 millimeter green bronze, I think it just, the latte, that little bit of a bronze color plus that little bit of a bronze color with that pearl, I think just looks delicious. Now, if I were using a little charm or whatever, I'd probably go grab something in the gold. I'll go back to you, JP, and I'll, for our very last, we're almost done here today, but do you want me to go back to what you've got going on here?
Yeah, because I can show everyone.
There we go.
So I am creating, let me go in the picture. I am macrameing a length of just the, this would now be the button loop. And I think it's probably long enough. I'm not going to worry about it. This is just a sample. But, and I only, this is like the Barbie doll sample.
That's right.
So I'm taking it off, and I would take this and I would measure that this loop would fit through this. This has to fit, but assuming that it does, you want to, what I'm going to demo this. I want to show you this. So I've looped it over, and this is just a few macrame knots from the end. I'm going to put a little glue here. I'm going to turn this around so the macrame, it's for my benefit. So the macrame is coming. I have to undo this whole project, so give me a second. So let me put this. Let me bring this through. Oh, sorry, everyone. I have to just put this up where I can see it.
And then I'll be right back, JP. I'm just
That's okay.
finishing this off here.
Okay, so I want my macrame cords at the back. I'm going to clamp this down to the side again. I'm going to take my main cords, and I've secured those to the end. And then I want to line these two up so that the top cord is a little bit longer, so you have to make sure your loop is big enough.
Yeah, and that gives you a little bit of a neck that you're going to wire wrap over.
Right. So I'm just going to tape this down to the board because it's not long enough. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to, I would glue this. I'm just not going to glue it now because it would just be, I'm not really set up to do it correctly with glue. So I'm not going to glue, but I'm coming down here, and I'm going to then just macrame over those knots.
And you could do like your first macrame, add your glue underneath on top of the macrame you're macrameing over.
Yes. Yes, do it. Do a few to just get
Mhm,
yourself situated. Like
mhm,
now would be a good time to
mhm,
glue.
to glue.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to continue from that point to the top of your beads. Is that correct?
Yes.
Hmm.
That's
And look
it.
at how Janice is utilizing her knotting tweezer. If it's a small spot, she can't get quite through there, use that knotting tweezer, those little curved fingers, to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
That looks great. I'm going to let you continue to macrame, JP. I'm going to show this layout here. I've
Okay.
grabbed a few things that I think look really nice with this. This is the Indicolite Briolette here that you
Oh
could just
yeah.
wire wrap on. This, I thought it needed a little pop of happy. So
Mm-hmm.
turquoise is always beautiful. I think that would be gorgeous. And
Yes.
then I feel like this Itsy Bee charm that you used in that your last Zen of stringing class.
Oh yes, my
This Itsy
favorite.
Bee, look at how gorgeous it looks
Yeah.
next to that pearl. So those
Yeah.
all look great. And Janice
Yeah.
put those on the end of next to the button, but you could also put it near the loop. I don't think it really
Or
matters.
anywhere.
Yeah,
Anywhere.
anywhere. The thinner.
Especially if you're going to wear it as a bracelet. It can go anywhere.
Now, there a couple of questions BK was asking in the chat, and people were answering them to say there's some red pearls, they're dark red that she got from Beadshop, and she's got 2 strands. Any color of the micro. There was a great, I think Terry made a nice suggestion that charcoal or the argentium would look nice. You could also do tone on tone and do all red. We've got a myriad of different reds. You could also skew it. I think right now that burgundy on burgundy is so in for fall.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the chocolate would also look nice, brown with the red.
Navy. Navy would be
Navy
pretty.
would look beautiful. Margaret's asking, she said she knows her favorite pearl knotting stringing cord is Ceylon, but would Irish wax linen work for this project? It would,
Yes.
Margaret, but not for pearls because the Irish wax linen is just so much larger, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the check bird, Cindy's asking, you could definitely throw one of the check birds in here. I was just
Mm-hmm.
looking at birds because I was wearing the Drea's bird earrings the other day, and a little check bird or the check um, uh, acorns that we
Mm-hmm.
have. If you have not, I'm going to grab them. I'm going to show you, Janice, and
Okay.
I'm going to grab the acorns. And I know we're really close to being done. Whoops, let me
Yeah.
add this
Yeah.
back. Let me solo that. There you are. Um, and Teresa, the thread I'm using is the latte, micro Ceylon in latte. And we've got plenty of that in stock for you. But let me just I'm going to grab the acorns because I'm in love with the acorns. For the leaves, any of our check glass shapes, I think, would look terrific.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Let me highlight this one again. So here are those acorns. Look at those. Can you say
Oh wow.
tree? Right? Isn't that just
Wow.
lovely?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, Terry, same with me. I need more hours in the day to get everything done.
I do. I do.
Oh, and
But
I
I
like this. There's a comment here. Can I just say this inspires me to make a rosary using this technique?
yes.
These are great for
Yes.
rosaries or prayer beads or meditation
What's
beads.
my project? The
The
oh
mala,
shoot.
your
The
mala project.
mala.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh that is
That would
You
look
just
great with
forget so
this,
many things. Yes,
for
the model
sure.
project. We use that. And I made my little loop, Kate.
Oh, where do you want me to show it? Overhead
Uh,
camera?
uh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I got you. You're on.
Okay, so this is the loop. Where am I? Where's the board? Oh,
There we
there we
go.
go.
There we
Yeah.
go. Perfect.
So here's the loop. Um, and it's just, I went over, looped it over, I macrameed around it, and I got the ends as close as I could. I haven't put glue down, but I will glue this, let it dry, and then I will use the thread burner very carefully. If you don't have a thread burner, then just let it dry and push a little bit of the cord in with like your tweezers as it's drying.
Mm-hmm.
And or if you're new to this and you're afraid, you might like, don't let this be the first time you ever use your thread burner.
Yeah,
Practice on
yeah, for
some
sure.
other threads just to make sure. But this will all evaporate with time, the any little ends that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And there's my little Barbie. My
It
little
looks
Barbie.
great. Hey, Barbie, that looks
Hey, Barbie.
fantastic. I love it. Let me get us all on air. I promised everyone that. Let me see. Hold, please. Let me get. Now I have to do. Now I have to put on my IT hat here. There we go. So there's that. Let me show you folks just real quick, and I promised to share the poetry. Let me go. Bear with me here just a second.
I'm going to open this curtain
Here.
because it's after 3 in Virginia and it's getting kind of dark.
There we go. So let
Dark.
me, I'm going to share. I need to share this tab. There we go. So here, my friends, is where all of the poetry projects live. You can see that. And they're all here. If you click on any one of these, we'll click on Janice's here. And you click on, here's all the ingredients that Janice used. And if you click right here, it says handout. See that right there? If you click on the handout button, the handout will come up and you'll be able to download it and
or just follow along. Just follow along. Scroll down.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't even have to, use printer paper.
Now, there was let me remove that. There was a request, since I've got the necklace here. You can see Janice is wearing hers. She's layering it there.
My neck mess.
Your neck mess, which I love. I have Janice's right here. Let me move me to the center. And you can see here it is. And we can just double that over. And you can decide what length, what works for you. We said this was about 42 and a half inches, which looks great. So let me just very kind of move it around. And then we can continue, add whatever it is that you want to layer with. But I think it looks great. I think it looks fantastic. So there you got it. Perfect. Thank you, Lynn, for your kind words today. I'll take everything else out here. We're going to remove that there. We're going to remove that over here. And then let me get us back on screen here. So thank you. Thank you. Oh, my earrings. Someone asked about the earrings. These are, I'll add this back. I did these on air a while back. This is when we just got our Super Duo symbols in. And you can see I started with the star project that Drea had here. And then I think I made them in this direction. And then I turned them over. I put one of those little bits on the top. I've been playing with the symbols. Dria's been playing with the symbols. We're going to have more of these coming up.
Can you point out the symbol?
Yeah,
Because
this
there may
one.
be some people who don't know.
Yeah,
The beads are super duos, and the
yeah.
little metal thing at the top is a symbol.
Are the symbols right there? It's the symbol, uh,
The
the
metal bead.
the metal bead, and it's the substitution, whatever the substitution is for the super duo. That's this
Mhm.
here, and then this symbol is one of the super duo, the drops there. So yeah, they're really fun. I've been playing around. I know, Janice, you have to go. I have to
It's all
go.
right. Let
Um,
me just say it's spelled Cymbal, symbol, not
yes,
SY. So
yes.
CY.
And here we go. I've been playing around. It's right here. You're going to see these again. But if you watched on the day when Danielle Wicks was here and
Mhm.
she made her, let me zoom out just a little. She made her really fantastic bracelet um, that I've kind of been wearing nonstop. You can watch her really great broadcast that she did with us for this bracelet. I've been playing around with some more like earring ideas
Mm.
with those symbols, and look at how all of this is kind of, I guess I'm
Yeah,
in the colorway right here for
yeah.
sure. But we're playing around with some different ideas, so it's a great time also to pick up some of the symbols beads. And thank you, Ellen, for linking them down there. And Alita has one last question, Janice, that we can answer for her. She says, do you recommend using really long side threads for knotting, or can we add thread during that project? And the answer is you can definitely add thread, right?
You can. You can. And I believe that's covered in the handout.
Mm-hmm. You can
But you can
essentially.
also
Mm-hmm.
just uh, just you can also have long thread,
Mm-hmm.
and you get used to working up close and then pulling the thread through.
Mm-hmm.
So it's yes to both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just depends on what you're more comfortable with, for sure.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to take this out. Well, Janice, thank you for such a fantastic project. I know you've inspired me. You've inspired the whole audience to get to poetrying. If you go on to beadshop.com, my friends, take a look at, we've got so many different freshwater pearls. There's still some freshwater pearls, I think, in Beadshop Studio. You can find some there. I'm always on the hunt, so stay tuned. We're going to definitely have some more pearls for you. But you can do this with pearls, with Chet glass, with any mixing some of the beads from your stash into this. But we're really excited to see what you make. And of course, let me just put this up one more time. You can find us on all of the social. Go to Bead Shop, the Bead Table on Facebook. Join us over there. Then you can post your creations. We'd really love to see what you'd make. If you post over on Instagram, give us a tag at beadshop.com so we can reshare what you've done in our stories. We've got great ideas on our Pinterest page. And if you are watching us on our YouTube channel, please do me a solid and hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss a broadcast of what we've got going on. If you have questions, email us right over at info@beadshop.com. We're working on your orders. Miranda and I are going to work on mystery boxes this afternoon. And I've heard from so many of you personally, and you've really reached out and given us really lovely emails and sent us really great messages. Moving back into having our studio and fulfillment and everything right here on site. It's been wonderful. It's really awesome, but it's also been a little bit of a challenge. So we so appreciate your patience with us. We are now filling we're so close to being caught up. You can check into on our homepage at beadshop.com. We have updates. You can also email in and let us know if you need your order right away, my friends. We will expedite that order out and get it to you. But if you are happy being patient, we're getting those orders out as quickly as we can. So we really, really appreciate your patience with us. We could not be smaller of a small business for sure. So we really, really appreciate it. And of course, a lot of you are saying that you're going to watch this on replay. You can not only watch this replay that we've done today, but all of our replays. We have over 900 techniques and projects and broadcasts over on our YouTube channel. So it would take you almost 3 years if you watched one a day. So there's a lot going on. And Miranda, you get a shout out from Lynn. You're doing an amazing job. I'm looking at her right now doing an amazing job over there. So, and thank you. And Terry, thank you so much. Our timelines are now much more realistic compared to other companies that we've seen. Well, thank you. We try and get things out, as quickly as we can, as accurately as we can. And again, we really appreciate you folks there. Let's see, anything else? And Lorraine, I couldn't say it more. Thank you, my friends, and have a great weekend. JP, as always, perfect project. Perfect.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, everybody. It's been really fun.
Yeah, it has been fun. I will be back with you next week with another fantastic project for our Wednesday broadcast. Go ahead and if you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, it's the best way to stick close to us and see what's going on and stay abreast of what's happening here at Beadshop. And Janice, thank you again. I know you've got to run. I'm sorry we ran over a little too long, but we'll see you folks soon.
Okay. Love you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.